What's up, YouTube fans? Today we're going to do a comparison of the FansToys Bandit with the DX9 Kukinski. Both versions of a masterpiece scale Deadend. So these came out a few years apart. This is from 2021, mid-2021. This just came out in August of 2025. So about 4 years apart. And this has been my Deadend for a while. Kind of standing in place for this guy. I really do like the rest of the Sonicons from FansToys. But now we finally have the complete set, so it's time to do this comparison. As I always mention with these, I try to be as objective as possible, but of course there's subjectivity involved when you're judging things like this. So if I pick one and you prefer the other, then you win. I try to make these to help people decide what direction they want to go with their collection, including getting both, which I actually will be keeping the G2 version of this guy and the FansToys, actually two FansToys. So, you know, to each their own. With that being said, let's get started. We'll look at the accessories. So here are the accessories they come with. They both come with guns. The FansToys one is painted. But then it has an extra gun, as well as an alternate face here. So we'll give accessories over to FansToys. Next we'll talk about gimmicks, and there's not too much in the way of gimmicks. They both have the weapon that can mount in vehicle mode. The DX9 does have opening doors. It's sort of part of the transformation, but it does open up in vehicle mode. So just by a little hair, I'm going to give them gimmicks. All right, next let's take a look at the cartoon accuracy and sculpt. And in order to do that, we'll put the G1 image there so you can take a look for yourself. And both of them do a pretty good job at recreating the cartoon look. There's a little difference in the way they approach the legs. Now, FansToys has the curved edge on the inside and the flat edge on the outside, whereas DX9 did the opposite. And I was wondering about why they did that. You know, the way DX9 got the wheel to be on the inside is there's a rotating piece right here, so you can get this rotated to the inside to make it look accurate. And I think FansToys was really going for that cartoon accurate flat look on the outside. But what they end up doing is putting the curved side on the inside, which also doesn't look quite right. So it ends up looking a little odd, but they are going for the accuracy pretty hard. They both have the lines on the forearm. Chest-wise, they both have the pattern and the look. The DX9 has this little hook piece, which I think is a little more accurate. The way that FansToys did it, it's not quite the same look because it's a hinge there. It does kind of emulate it, but I think the DX9 does a little bit better job on that. Coming to the side, both very similar. Like I mentioned, that they went for the flat side on the outside. And here's the back, and neither of them look like the cartoon on the back in any way, but the FansToys is definitely messier. You know, they've got quite a bit of backpack here. At least the DX9 cleans up flat. So for sculpt-wise, I think I would give DX9 the sculpt. You know, it's just cleaner in general. So, yeah, I'm going to give cartoon accuracy a tie. I think they both get elements of it right. But I'm going to give sculpt over to DX9. All right, next we'll talk about the paint on these two. And once again, FansToys pretty much applies paint 100% across the board. And not only that, it's a really good looking paint. It's metallic paints and, you know, it's just vibrant. The DX9, surprisingly, does have a painted surface, or there is a finish on the red. The gray does not have a finish, and it is swirly gray, which is my least favorite of the grays. And then there is a paint job on parts of the chest, not all of it. The white is unpainted, and paint on the face, but not on the head. So FansToys is going to win not only on more paint, but more vibrant and metallic looking paint. Next, let's talk about the build quality. And this is a strange one, because this is the first time of all the Sonicons that I felt that there are some mild build issues. Or maybe it's a design issue, but like the elbows for one. These feet are a little strange. The way they did it, you have to come here and bend the heel down. If you bend the toe down, it doesn't stand. And then as you're posing it, it sometimes goes down on those, then he ends up leaning forward. So I end up using the knees to kind of pose him back straight. So, you know, that's just a little weird thing with the way they designed that. But build quality wise, it's built well, just like most FansToys. You know, it's got that really nice quality plastic and build. It's got that squeaky, you know, tight joints. You know, everything feels good on it. It doesn't feel like there's any issues. DX9, same thing. There aren't really any build issues on it, but there is a tolerance issue, and it's on the ab crunch. Now, this one isn't as bad. Some of the other ones that I own are really bad. He's a little bit floppy over here. Like sometimes he goes back when you don't want him to. But overall, I would say they're both pretty good. I've transformed them both multiple times. So I will give them a tie on the build quality. All right, now let's take a look at the articulation. In order to do that, we'll articulate each one individually. For the FansToys, you got the head on rotating swivel, gets up to there, down to there, no side to side, and rotates around. Shoulder on a ratchet, rotate all the way around, out to the side on a friction hinge. There is a double hinge here, so you can get his shoulder all the way up to there if you like. You can also reposition the shoulder. If you want it down lower, you can have it there, or you can lift it up and have it there, whichever look you prefer. It's nice to have the option. You have a rotation here at the bicep at a cut joint. You have a double jointed elbow, but it's completely useless. I'm almost going to just take the point away because this is really stupid, the way they did it. You can bend that top one, but then you can't bend the bottom one. Now, a buddy of mine was saying you could do this, rotate this to the outside. Now you've got a double jointed elbow. I don't know. Is that better? Kind of ugly on the outside, but you could fake it if you wanted to. But I'm not going to give that to them. It's clearly not meant for that. You have a rotation at the wrist. You have individually articulated fingers at 2 pins, and then the thumb is on a ball joint. The hands are okay. Coming to the waist, you have a waist rotation. No ab crunch. None of them have had ab crunch, really. You have hip skirts on the front and on the side. This is a little tight. The leg will kick up to there on a ratchet. Back to there on a ratchet. Out to the side on friction. Holds nicely. Rotation at the thigh. You have a single jointed knee. Gets you just about 90 degrees. You have ankle tilt. And you have pivot. You do actually have a pivot down here. You just have to move the right one. And just to mention, there isn't really much die cast down here like there was on the other figures. So he's a little bit lighter than some of the other ones we've got. All right, moving on to DX9. The head is on a rotating swivel as well. Up and down, and rotates around. No side to side. Shoulders around on friction, out to the side on a hinge. You can also lift up the entire shoulder. So you can get it all the way up to there, just again, due to transformation. Rotation at the bicep at a cut joint. You have a double jointed elbow. I'm giving them the credit for this. They deserve the credit for the double jointed elbow. It actually works. You have rotation at the wrist, in and out movement at the wrist, but single pin for the fingers, and they're connected together, and they're curled. So FansToys is going to get the point for individual fingers. But these guys have the dice roll joint in there as well. So a little weird, unexpected thing there. All right, coming to the waist, you have a waist rotation and an ab crunch. So you got ab crunch as well here. Legs will kick up to there, back to there, out to the side, rotation at the thigh. You have a single jointed. I was just trying to make sure. Oh no, actually it's a double jointed knee. You can't really get it past, but there is a double jointed knee here. Just can't use it. So I don't know. Coming down to the feet, you have tilt on the toe, forward and backward movement on the toe, and side to side. So because of the additional ab crunch, double jointed elbows, I'm going to give articulation over to DX9. And FansToys hasn't been known for their articulation, but this one is exceptionally limited, especially those elbows. They really bother me, but we'll give it to DX9. All right, next we'll talk about the transformation and engineering. When it comes to transformation, this is one of the simpler transformations from FansToys, and it's always the legs for Deadend that are the more challenging or tricky thing because you got to get them rotated past each other. Both of them have that thing, but FansToys put an extra joint in the thigh to give you some separation. That's an interesting thing. I haven't seen that in a transformation before. So even though it still has that challenge of getting the legs past each other, they did give you an assist with that new kind of pulled on joint, which is only for that. It's not used for anything other than that transformation. For the DX9, also very straightforward and simple transformation, except when you get to the feet. These do get caught up, especially this panel here, and opening it past this panel. So that does get in the way. So if I'm going to give it, I'm going to give it to FansToys. I think this is one of their more simple and fun transformations, and they figured out how to get the legs to not be annoying. So we'll give it to them. When it comes to engineering, this is close. It's tough, but I think I'm going to give it to DX9. They have a cleaner look overall, and the vehicle mode does come together pretty nicely. All right, and here they both are in their alt mode. And I did have to look up an image from the cartoon. My image here isn't always representative of the way it looks. And I couldn't really find any where his headlights were blue. But to be honest, his headlights really weren't any color. They were just the color of the rest of the body. But taking a look here, they both have translucent lights. FansToys with the blue and the yellow up here. The DX9 with the translucent with yellow paint. They both have rubber tires. FansToys went with the chrome wheels, whereas DX9 went with the silver wheels. On the back, they both have translucent taillights. Again, clear on the DX9, yellow on the FansToys. The FansToys does have a rear windshield wiper built in, and actually front windshield wipers too. So a little bit more realistic detail there. You have the real spoiler on both, although this one looks more realistic. I don't think it was in the middle of the glass like this one. But yeah, I mean, they're both really good alt modes. All right, next we'll talk about the cost on these two. And this is a little tough because this guy comes with all the combined parts, so he's $400. Obviously, $400 is going to be more than the price here, but if we extrapolate and just assume he was the same price as the other FansToys Stunticons, I think it was roughly $155, at least on ages tier and up. This guy is $100, so still, even if we use that cost, DX9 is going to win on cost. All right, the final category is the Members' Choice category, where I ask my members which one they prefer just based on their personal preferences and no other factors. And you guessed it, FansToys is going to win the Members' Choice category. I'm not surprised. I mean, the paint does look nice. So just based on looks, yeah, I think it's pretty good. It's really once you start articulating and manipulating it. But we'll give FansToys the Members' Choice category. So final thoughts on the comparison. You can see the score, and DX9 is going to win this one. It's close, but they're going to win. And that is a surprise to me. I did not think they were going to win. But yeah, they do a lot of good things and a lot of things right. I think what they're missing is finish, right? Their finish, their polish is not quite there. That's where FansToys kind of shines, is the finish, the look of it on the shelf, really stands out. Me personally, I still like this figure. I like this character from DX9. But because I'm displaying the rest of the Stunticons from this team, I gotta have the matching one, right? This really does not fit in. So I am gonna go with this for my robot mode. But, it's pretty respectable that they were able to make such a good figure. Now, I did already do the comparison with the combined modes. The FansToys just wiped the floor with the DX9 combined mode, so that is no surprise to me. That's one of the best combiners ever made. But this guy on his own is not the best Deadend ever made, at least in my opinion. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.